that time of the month again when we look at what's happening in the month ahead for you and a little bit of our own political scene. You know, when I looked at the whole year ahead at the beginning of this year and wrote about it in my book Your Stars, speaking about July and August, it looks as if our fresh president has gotten a little bit of the jump on me. But what was said in the stars is still true and still important. At the time, of course, we never knew whether we were speaking about Zuma or the president that would follow him, which I did say would be Ramaphosa. But clearly, the fact that it's a president who's on his own new agenda, definitely with a cleaner slate, helps him get ahead of the game, because I only at the end of July, which it is right now, said that this is the time when the president will be traveling around the world trying to stabilize the financial situation. And as we know, that is exactly what has been happening in his travels in the Middle East lately. So he is firmly on course, just as the stars dictate, and it seems like therefore he's got our fate suitably in his hands at the moment. Doesn't mean that everything is squeaky clean. What we still are waiting to see, that was also predicted for this time, is some changes in the finance ministry. All the changes that are happening in government in the mid part of this year right now, and in a little bit in the later part of this year, are mostly invisible to us. The ANC is of course hugely aware that there is an election next year. So it's going to be a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and there is quite a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on according to the charts at the moment, which will start to come out late next year. It is still clear though that there's a lot of corruption coming to the surface right now, and what is important, of course, the VBS bank story that's going on at the moment, and one after another, a financial institution, McKinley was just recently, all of this coming out into the open, and gradually we get set back onto our proper course and our proper financial security. It is good to know that the stars suggest that there are important negotiations financially being done by the president, but there is just a little bit too much behind the scenes that we don't that we don't really know about. There are also indications that a female politician is going to be important in the coming weeks, or a female member of the government or someone like that. I wonder if it is Madiba, who has returned to her post at the prosecuting authority. The prosecuting authority, NPA, is still a deeply tainted organization in this country. The president has not managed to be able to do anything about that, and the reappointment of Madiba and the appeal against her reinstatement, all of these still have to play themselves out, and I think it's going to stir up a little bit more dirt and unsettlement and dust than people might be realizing. Might also be interesting for Jacob Zuma's endlessly forthcoming corruption trials, but that's a story for another day. It also looks like sport and entertainment are our best hope. Earlier this year, and in the book, I spoke about a new South African sports star who in the middle of the year will turn out to renew our hopes for us. At the time I thought it was soccer, but I should have remembered that team sports are not our thing. And it turned out, of course, to be Kevin Anderson and his remarkable performance at Wimbledon during the month of July, and his like all sports stars do for us, this ability to reunite us under one common goal and one common identity and one common love. So cheers and ups to Kevin Anderson on doing that, and of course Caster Semenya, who always does that, and she's still very much at the top of the game and doing the same thing for us. So sport is looking good, and the entertainment industry is looking good. There are a couple of big stars in the country in the couple of months, but I think it's actually our local stars that are really going to shine and give us, just like Anderson, a bit of a reason to be proud and happy to be South Africans. We need to concentrate on what's good about things right now, because the economic situation is still looking very challenging, but the good news is that the efforts made by the president over the last month are really going to help and make a difference. So we at least have something to look forward to. The month ahead for Aries is all about taking your success a little bit further. It looks like in recent times things have really been working quite well for you, and now you can grow that into something more stable and more secure. You're finally moving away from the challenges that might have plagued you for quite a while. And the good news is that fewer and fewer outside things are really getting in the way, and that gives you a lot more control than you might have had for a while. That also means some of the outside stuff you're going to have to let go of yourself. And that's things like people who've had too much influence on you, or people who've led you astray one way or another. Basically, in order to really meet your goals at this time, you're going to have to rely on yourself. And that shouldn't be so hard. You'll be able to pursue some important personal goals in the month ahead, and those are also going to be able to bring bigger gains into your life. The one problem with having that greater sense of achievement and control and all of that is that you could end up with too much on your plate. And while it's great that we're going ahead with your kind of achievement, you also need to develop you at this time. Also means that in your personal life, you need to make sure that you're not taken too much for granted or end up as if you were a worker rather than a personal member. So make sure playtime is also a little bit focused on getting what you need. For Taurians, well, your comfort zone is not so comfortable at the moment, and you might have to make some adjustments. The adjustments you have to make are what you believe about yourself. As together as Taurians often are, deep inside, sometimes you feel a little bit insecure. Well, now is the time to let go of any control you're trying to maintain in order to get things a bit more secure, because it ain't happening that way. It's time to get some new things onto your plate, let go of some of the self-criticism that is actually standing in your way at the moment. In fact, this month is all about letting go of things you don't want to face, letting go of things you'd rather hang on to, and so on. It'll be very clear. You won't even need me to tell you what to let go of. You probably even know exactly what I'm talking about as I'm speaking to you right now, but you're feeling too insecure. Well, this is the time that you can make all the difference to yourself. Let go of some assumptions, let go of some politeness and political correctness that has been interfering with your life, and maybe let go of some of those beliefs. Luckily, in your personal life, there's a safe space where you can find yourself again and feel like yourself again. Just be relaxed and make sure you're spending good quality time with people that you love. Making small changes in your personal life right now will have a huge result, and that will inspire you. Gemini, of course, everything is always about people. Everything for you is at your best when you're surrounded by people, and this is one of those times. You're popular and you're connected and networking, and everything social is really working for you at the moment, which is all great, but actually you shoot yourself in the foot, because you actually need to put the spotlight more on yourself and what you need from people, rather than rushing off to meet their needs all the time. Maybe throw a party, a late birthday party, connect with people you love, find what things you like, and really you just need to receive some love and appreciation, because you've been putting a lot into everything lately. Some things are ticking along in their own, and you'll need to step in and give them some direction, especially in your working environment, where you mustn't assume that anyone else cares as much as you do. If there's someone in charge or you're relying on someone, you will need to have to look over their shoulder. You may actually have to take a few backward steps in order to move forward. But there's new energy that you can put into your goals, re-inspire yourself, and make things move forward much more so. In your personal life, new people are going to be the source of the most important things, but don't jump too fast into anything you might regret a little bit later on. It's a time for fun, but not for anything so serious. For Cancerians, well, this is a time when you really need to get your foundations back in place. It means getting back down to some of the basics and relying more on yourself than for others, as many people seem to have to do at this time. You are able to travel and look around, and there might be opportunities for new things to come in, so do keep an open mind for new opportunities, new experiences, or so on. This is a month where your natural creativity is going to have plenty of opportunity to show itself. So some of that, of course, is in your goals. So you need to have a look at what goals that you can pursue that are more important and personal to you. There are resources that are available to you, they're just not obvious. So look out further, far and wide, on your travels, or if you don't have a chance to travel. Even though many Cancerians seem to be traveling at the moment, there's all sorts of ways to look far and wide and actually find resources that you need. It does mean that you're going to have to spend some of your own resources. You know, it takes money to make money, but that's going to be worth your while. In your personal life, you need to get past this personal struggle. You're feeling hemmed in by someone or disempowered, and you might need to kind of stand up for yourself. Don't get defensive, resolve it. Don't lose your cool, take back your power. Leos, happy birthday. It's your birth month, and as the party sign, it's a perfect time to throw a party. You're right back at the center of attention this month, especially from your birthday onwards, so there's no better way to ensure that happens than throwing the party yourself. There are plenty of opportunities to do other things that are for you and things that you also love, which is also quite important. What you love most of all is making other people feel taken care of and good and safe and have fun. So that's also what this party is all about. But more importantly, you can nurture your connections with others, and you can nurture what might turn out to be a more significant connection or opportunity than you realize coming through another person. It could be new things, new opportunities to do a job or some other activity that really appeals to you. So this is the time for that. Some of you are going to feel a little bit challenged by what's happening at work. It seems as if you're required to do things that you don't really consider part of your portfolio, but think of it as an opportunity to develop new talents, because that will happen during the course of this month. In your personal life, just be careful of little arguments. Rather, realize that you're probably being stubborn and conflict is arising out of your own stubbornness. That means you can change it. Just relax, no conflict. Sacrifice is not something new to Virgos, and it does look like this is a month where you find yourself making the usual unnecessary sacrifices. Remember, one of the big Virgo challenges is not to become a servant. Be helpful, be beneficial to others, but make sure that you are properly rewarded. It does look like you're feeling guilty about things at this time, and that's causing you to avoid something or someone, and dealing with that something or someone is precisely what you need to be doing, not avoiding. Especially since if you clear the air and clear the way, this is a time when your own ideas really have a chance to grow and bring new things into your life. You're just going to need a little bit of courage and self-reliance. Stop worrying about other people and what they think of you. This is a time when you can really do it yourself. You're not really a leadership type, but you might really need to be assertive in order for this to happen. Take a bit of a stand and make sure that others are cooperating. And it doesn't look like you're going to have any trouble at all with that. It doesn't mean everything is just easy, because you probably were going to have to give something up, or there will be some cost. But it does look like the end result is worth it. It also looks like you might be having a little bit too much expectation of someone else in your personal relationship. Also focus on equitable there and being realistic, and then you're going to be satisfied. Librans, love beautiful things and things that are perfect, but there actually can be too much of a good thing. And that too much of a good thing is probably what you're expecting from yourself right now. High expectations and high demands on yourself at this time could also lead to high disappointments. So what you really need to be doing is sitting down and reassessing some of your ideals. Do they relate to the circumstances that you're actually in? Can you reshape your ideals to make them more realistic? More like practice makes perfect, rather than I need them to be perfect. And that'll help you manifest things that you really wanted for a long time, and so on. It's going to be difficult for you to let go of ideals that you've had for a long time, and it might be difficult to actually make them happen, but you've got to start somewhere, and now's the time to start working on that. You also need to kind of let go of old ways of doing things at work and be open to new ways of finding solutions. And the way to do that is to get other people involved. So branching out with other people, branching out by learning new skills will also help you create new goals and create new attitudes and get yourself on a whole new path. In your relationship, you need to make sure that too much impulsivity is not leading to you creating too many expectations and creating a little bit of confusion. But for the most part, you can really get close to those who are close to you. For Scorpio, everything is looking just right, like the planets are perfectly aligned for you and your luck is running high. Everything is falling into place, people are cooperating, everything seems to be there when you need it. All looks great and it feels like you're in control, which is exactly what you like to feel. But that can also lead to feeling a little complacent and getting a little stuck. So it's also time to focus on adaptive strategies. Let go of what's not working anymore. Use this strong and so-called lucky position to actually make new things work for you and identify and let go of those things which aren't working anymore. Luck also shows itself as opportunities, and you still have to jump at them. They won't throw themselves at you. And the challenge will be to really direct your energies more, not to sit back and feel complacent and think, oh yes, my life is just fantastic. You've actually got to channel this energy. Don't take your hand off the wheel. You need to be focused, you need to be persistent, and the result will be gains. If you need to attract publicity or do some advertising, this is the place to do it. In your personal life, it's not where you're in control at the moment. So to make your personal life interesting and rewarding, let go completely. Let someone else be in control. Compromise, let them take the wheel, see what happens. Sagittarians, of course, are just aching for some freedom and some space. That's what you're always aching for. But it's not going to come so easy. You're going to have to engage a little bit of effort and, most importantly, finish some unfinished business. There's all sorts of stuff demanding attention that is only just begun. And you're not really feeling like doing it at all. At the best of times, you leave too many things on your plate. Now's the time to tie up a few things. It's more than just bureaucratic. There's some potential future problems that could be avoided if you concentrate on what do I need to finish and complete at this time. There will still be opportunities for new things and new places and interesting new people, and that will help you set some new goals. But the really important thing is to make sure that old goals are finished first. Sagittarians like nothing more than to pile up their plates with way too much to do. Take a slower pace. Make sure that you finish one thing before you do something else, and maybe get some help from someone else, because rushing, rapidity, that's your challenge at the moment. There will be people who can open doors for you, and there might be someone in a powerful position who can help you as well. In your personal life, it does look like people have a lot of expectations at the moment, but you're really able to focus on yourself, focus on the things and people that you love. That'll be the great balance for the month. Determination, sticking to it, pushing forward even when they don't like it. This is what this month is going to have to be all about, and that's something that is not strange to you. You've never been one to really care if you win a popularity contest. This month you're not going to be doing that, because you're going to have to push other people as well. So this is also a great opportunity then to address some conflicts, some people who are in the way, and some people who are actually holding you and perhaps everyone else back at the same time. So clear your path of those people that are no longer working for you. Assert what needs to be done to those people who are working for you. This is really when you can start working on fulfilling some long, important ideals, and nothing should stand in the way to make that happen. You will have to stand your ground. You will have to exercise your authority. Again, things that come easy to you and things that won't go down so well with everyone else. Not such a popular month for you, but certainly a productive month for you. It can also mean conflict with those in power. So if that's the nature of your world, be careful not to do something you're going to regret later on. In your personal life, you're going to need support. So this kind of strong Capricorn energy must not be allowed to go there. Surround yourself with people that you love, and of course your partner as well, and don't respond to those who are taking things a little bit too personally, because there's bound to be a few of those. Aquarians are supposed to be all casual, happy-go-lucky, not affected by things. Sometimes that's confusing to people, and sometimes that causes them to admire you, but actually that's run its course. You'll find that at this time you've kind of reached a breaking point. Your tolerance has expired and you're feeling ready almost for a battle, kind of take on anyone. So be careful that you do that in words only, and that you don't get too frustrated and get into anything too complicated, because as you already know, people just often don't see things from the same angle that you do. So this is time to eliminate those things which don't really fit and work in your life anymore. Make a fresh start and concentrate on those things which do match your ideals and those people who do operate from the same place that you do. You'll be able to put those kind of plans into action if you seize the moment. This is not the time for waiting around. This is a time for stepping into action. So important for you right now. You'll also be able to get a fresh start in your personal life going. Existing relationships and new relationships are going to be benefiting from that. So what are you waiting for? So Pisces, the rest of us do think of you as the spiritual sign, and you can even inspire us in that connection. But more importantly is for yourself, that you might have been neglecting that part of your life for a while, and it's time to get back to your natural spiritual and philosophical roots so that you can actually find a bit more meaning. You're feeling a little bit overwhelmed and you might be feeling a little bit unhappy, and through study and through your spiritual life and making that more important, you're going to find a lot of relief. That same spiritual sensitivity gives you worldly sensitivity. You can really be tuned in. And if you work on that right now in your working life, it's all about being tuned in, knowing what others need, and being able to really provide for those needs in ways that will benefit you in the long run as well. So it's not time to do anything differently. It's really just time to get back to your core values. You're on a winning streak, but they work when you work according to how you do things best. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices. That's your biggest thing, and that could be happening in your personal life. Those sacrifices cause you to make some losses or lose out or end up feeling bad or guilty or something like that, and make you feel you're supposed to be doing something for someone else when you're not. You need to be doing something for you, and you certainly don't need to be doing anything for them. They're quite alright. Let that be, let them show you that, bring things to a better balance, no sacrifices will be needed. As I'm recording this show, it is of course Madiba Day, the 18th of July, Nelson Mandela's 100th birthday, and we remain awestruck at the privilege that we had of having him as our great leader. And we continue to try and learn the lessons from him. So I thought I'd just quickly add just one thought for us as we concentrate on his message and his legacy at this time, and we think about what can we do, because that was his great lesson and message. What can we ourselves do for our country and for other people in our country? And just to remind you then, of course, he was a Cancerian. We're still in the month of Cancer, and Cancer is all about the love of home and family and people, and he was able to give that to us. So lesson number one from a Cancerian is home and family and people are all important. For Madiba, that of course would be South Africans. We know he was tremendously inclusive, and he really was able to understand that the diversity of this nation all identify as South Africans and all have the right to do that. So first lesson to remember from a great Cancerian who led us is that we are all a family, sharing a common home. And like any Cancerian would want, our strength, our peace and security for us all are our goal. Cancerians are not selfish. As we saw, their attention to those who they love and those who they want to protect is everything. And that's what we can do for all of our fellow South Africans as a lesson from our great Cancerian. One other thing about him is that he had the sign Sagittarius as his rising sign. And amongst other things, the so-called rising sign helps us understand how we approach the world. Sagittarius rising means that he approached the world as a student and he appeared in the world as a teacher. And if we can all be a student and a teacher as best as we possibly can. Sagittarius's message is of ideals that are philosophical and spiritual and beneficial to all. He was, unsurprisingly, the embodiment of that. So that's the other thing that we can learn from Madiba via astrology. How can I be a student forever? And how can I be a teacher to make sure that other people also learn from what I learn? And if we put that Sagittarius and that Cancerian stuff together, I think you know the story. That's our 67 for this year from astrology. And on the subject of July, it does feel a little bit strange to be sitting here in a t-shirt in this warm Cape Town weather once again. And it is important for us to remember the drought is not over and the danger has not passed. So we've got to keep on hoping for rain and saving water. And I hope next week when I'm back here with you, it will be pouring with rain and freezing cold and back to Cape Town winter as it should be. Keep up with me and what's happening on the show, and make your suggestions and get in touch with me on the Facebook page where you can do it all. And I will be here at the usual time next week. See you there.